thank you very much. And let me say it was a privilege to gather with this group of brethren and sisters to assess the state of our world. And while we come together because of racial tensions, I think we will agree that these are also economic tensions. And that while Dr. King talked about redeeming the soul of America from racism, war, and poverty, while we've made progress, legally racism is gone. But poverty is still with us. In fact, poverty is probably worse now than it was when Dr. King was alive. And so a lot of the things that we talk about as black and white or black and blue, I think are actually green. And as we think in terms of jobs for the jobless, as we think of economic opportunity and educational opportunity, and focus on these issues for the 21st century, which inevitably have to be different than they were in the 20th century. Selma was 50 years ago. This is a new day, a new dynamic. And I think this gathering has come together to give a pastoral assessment. I was amazed how much agreement there was, and I thank the bishops and all of those who came because I think this is just the beginning. I was saying to Bishop Jakes that we started talking about race in the NAACP back in 1916. The courts started and the law schools started talking about race relations in the 30s and 40s. So that by the time we got to the 60s, we had something of a consensus of what direction in which to go. But we have not had that kind of discussion about how we deal with the least of these God's children. And of course, I'm getting up at the age where I'm worried about the least of these, because that's what the Lord's going to ask me about when my time comes. And I think that's the challenge and mission of the church from the very beginning. Inasmuch as you've done it unto the least of these, my brethren, you've done it unto me. And I think that's the spirit in which we've gathered, and I want to thank everybody for a wonderful dialogue. It was at a wonderful intellectual and spiritual level, and the world can't help but be a better place simply because we gather together as brothers and sisters.